everybody, what's up and welcome back. And today I am very happy to be here to talk to you guys today. I found a package on my porch when I came back from fishing. I'm very excited to talk about what's in this box with you guys. So stay tuned because we are going to dive right in. Everybody, and welcome back. So yeah, I want to dive right into this box, man. I'm really excited to talk about this stuff and what's inside this box. So I want to show you what's inside it, and then we're going to talk about all the stuff that's in there and just tell you why I like it so much. So for you, those of you guys that don't know, I love throwing crankbaits. It's my favorite bite to get. I love it. Just love just chucking and reeling, and there's nothing like catching fish on a crankbait. So spring and fall, man, are phenomenal times to fish crankbaits, but you can fish crankbaits all through the summer, all year round, actually. You just got to know when and where to throw them. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what's in this box. This box actually has the new Googan baits mini banger and the new mini Recons. And if you guys can see in there, there's 6 of them in there. And we're going to get them out and we're going to show you guys. Now, these aren't the first ones that I got. I actually got like 7 of the mini bangers to start out with, just to test them out and see if I liked them. Wasn't sure if I was going to like them or not, but I wanted to give them a try because they looked really good. And a lot of the places that I fish are heavily pressured, so sometimes you got to show a different presentation. And a lot of guys are throwing the 1.5s or 2s, and they're throwing a lot of the same stuff, and I wanted something that was a little smaller and might entice them to bite a little more. And so I tested out those little mini bangers. So I showed you what's in this box, but I'm going to show you my ones that I originally bought. And I have a dedicated box for them, and now that I got the rest of them, I'm going to be able to fill it up. But I have this box, and there's 6 of them in here. So let's see if you guys can see that without me tumping them out. So there you go. That's 6 right there, and then I have one actually tied on a rod. Now these 3 guys, right, these 5 are mini bangers, and then this is a mini Recon right here. And we'll show you each one of them. I'll show you the different colors and stuff. But I also have one, as I hit my rod up there on the ceiling, but I actually have one already tied on here that I've been fishing. And the last time I went out fishing to Almar Lake, this caught me every fish that I caught that day. So they do work really well. If you guys are wondering if they catch fish, they do catch fish, and they catch lots of fish. So super great baits. But we're going to show you each bait and just kind of go over. Now I'm going to show you some of the mini Recons first that I already got, and the reason why I like these colors. And I ended up getting the other colors too. We're going to go through them all. But so basically, when you guys are fishing crankbaits, you only really need 3 kind of colors. You know, you really need a Shad Pattern, you need a chartreuse of something for dirty water, and you need a crawl. I mean, that's basically the only 3 colors you really need. I like to keep it simple and not get too crazy, but sometimes I do get a little crazy because I do like other colors. But we're going to just dive into it and show you some of the stuff that I like to fish. Now, the first one that I have tied on here that I've been fishing lately, because I fished in a lot of stained water, is this Shad Pattern right there. It's a white, got chartreuse with a blue-black back with a little dot, and just a phenomenal bait, man. And it catches fish, and I've hooked some donkeys, caught some donkeys, and lost some donkeys, but it has a really good hookup ratio, really good hooks, and just works really good. So that's a good pattern that you can throw in dirty water or clear water. It works from both. I've caught fish in both. And then you move on to some other different colors for stained water and things like that. Now, they make this mini Recon right here, and that's great for clear water because it's got a clear kind of body with a little touch of chartreuse on the tail to kind of just give it attraction. It's blue on top, got a nice flash to it. So clear, you know, sunny days and stuff, or clear days right there, that is going to be a clear water, excuse me. That's going to be a great bait, and it is a great bait. And then you move on to your chartreuses. So if you get into dirtier water, they make this little mini Recon, which is, you know, nice chartreuse black back, which is a great color, and that's for your more stained water and your more dirty water. And then they also make this one that I really, really like, And this has got chartreuse, but it's got purple and black on the back, and I really like this one a lot and think it's a great little bait too. And just to show you, these baits aren't really that big, so you can kind of see how big that is in the palm of my hand. Let me see if I can do this a little better, see if I can kind of clip it with my hand like that so you guys can kind of see how big those baits really are. So they're not huge baits, but you can cast them on a bait caster all day long with not a problem. And then they make a couple different crawl patterns. They make this one in a red kind of crawl pattern with a black top, which is a super nice one. I throw a lot of crawl ones, and then they make this one that is more of a brown, yellow, orange belly chartreuse. So you got two options with the crawls. Super nice. And yeah, and then the other one I have in here, this is the only mini Recon that I'd gotten at the time, was just a regular shad. Now this one, I've already done videos and caught fish with this bait, and it's a really great bait. I love the action on these things, and they got nice rattle in them, and just a really great bait, and they just work, man. And I was looking for something. I don't like to throw really huge baits, man. Like the biggest crankbait I really like to throw is a 1.5. Now I've got some that are a little bit bigger, the 2.0s. I got a couple of those, but I don't throw them that often. I really, you know, the 1s and 1.5s is kind of what I like to throw. And for the fisheries that I'm fishing, they work really well. So depending on where you're at in the country and where you fish in those bodies of water and how heavily pressured they are, really depends on what you're going to throw. So I mean, for my region, you know, I live in the Northeast in Virginia. These baits work really good, and I like the smaller baits. I tend to get a lot more bites and catch a lot more fish, and I still catch big fish. So don't think that you have to throw a big bait to catch a big fish. If you've followed me at all and watched my videos, you see I do a lot of finesse fishing, and I catch a lot of big fish finesse fishing, where a lot of guys don't like to finesse fish, but I don't mind it because I catch some really big fish that way, and it's a very effective technique. Now, I do throw chatterbaits and spinnerbaits and all that crazy stuff too, but I always got finesse rods with me, and I do a lot of finesse fishing. So we're going to show you a few of these other baits now that I went through what I already had in this box. We're going to dig out the last few Recons that they had. So these are the mini Recons, and the difference in these are just shad patterns. This one is a shad pattern. This is actually this is the mini banger. I don't know if they have names, different names for these, but anyway, these guys dive 1 to 4 feet. On the back it said, you know, these dives 1 to 4 feet for not the lipless. They dive 1 to 4 feet for the square bills. They're 2 inches long, and they're 1/4 ounce in weight. But that's another shad pattern one right there. And it's got like a little green top on it, and that will work really good for clearer water, cleaner water. But you can even throw it in some dirty water. I mean, because it's got that white on it, it's gonna show up, you know, and it just gives them a different thing. And then the other shad pattern they have, this has got a blue chartreuse, blue-green top with chartreuse and white, and just another color that you can throw. This is good for stained water as well, dirty stained water and stuff. Honestly, this is probably something I'd throw more into a little bit clearer water, but there's shad patterns, sort of different colors depending on the water clarity that you got going on. For the two main ones that I throw in clear water, it's going to be this for clear water. It's going to be this one that I got tied on my rod, and then it'll be the actual a little bit deeper diver. It'll be the mini Recon in the shad pattern. Now, I've thrown this mini Recon in stained water because I fished mostly stained water, and I caught bass on this in stained water. So don't think they can't pick up on it even if the water is stained. I mean, I wouldn't do it in like chocolate soup muddy water. I wouldn't throw this, but in stained water, this will still catch fish. I mean, if you've got, you know, 6 to 12 inches of visibility and stuff, this is still going to get seen, and they're going to still catch it. You're still going to catch fish on it. So don't be afraid to throw those lighter colors even in some stained water, because they will catch fish. The fish will hone in on it and get it. Now, the reason why you throw the brighter colors is because they can see that better in that dirty water, and you have the sound, and that both those things are going to attract those fish from further away. So when you're throwing lighter colored stuff in dirtier water, then you have to get the bait closer to the fish. So that's why you have the brighter colors. But so I went and bought some of the mini Recons that match. Basically, these are the mini Recons that match the square bills. And so the mini Recons actually dive 3 to 6 feet. So the square bills, the mini bangers, square bills are 1 to 4 feet, and then the Recons dive down to 6 feet. So I found that these guys work really good. They work really good in the fall bite. I mean, these are really good for those suspended fish. That spring bite, when those fish are like in between that shallow and in between that real deep, these are really great go-to baits. And you can throw this up shallow and bang it out to the deep, which is really nice. So I really enjoy being able to do that. Now this is the other crawl. This is the crawl pattern one, and this is the mini Recon. So that's got the little bit longer bill on it, and those go 3 to 6 feet. And then this is the mini Recon in a shad pattern, right there. And then this is the other mini Recon. This is the other shad pattern that I really like. I really like that purple. I just think that's a great color. And then this is the other shad pattern in the mini Recons. So basically what I did is I got all the ones I could get in the square bills, and then I got all the ones I could get in the mini Recons, which gives me that little bit deeper depth. So a lot of times when I'm out fishing on my boat, I'll have like a square bill tied on one rod, and then I'll have a medium diver tied on the other one, or a deep diver, depending on what body of water I'm fishing. And that way I'm not having to tie and untie. I can just pick up one rod, throw it, pick up the next rod, and throw it. And because some of the places I've fished, like, they have real shallow areas, and then they have areas that get deep, and as I'm going around, having to untie and tie kind of is a pain in the butt. So it's nicer to have the extra rod, so I can just pick it up and start throwing. That way if I hit a shallow spot again, or there's a shallow tree, I have both baits ready to go, so I can just fire them out and catch those fish. And I love a crankbait bite, man. I just love it. And if you guys follow me, you'll see that I love catching fish on crankbaits, and I throw crankbaits all the time. I keep one tied on year round. I throw one all the time, all the time. I mean, I always try to get a crankbait bite and get some crankbait fish, even throughout the summer. Now, in the summer months, I usually throw it on overcast days or windy days when you get a little bit of chop and you get a little bit of wind on the surface and stuff. That's when the spinner baits and the crankbaits come out in the summertime, and they usually get bit. So and the other thing that you got to figure out is that, you know, sometimes those fish are on shad, so when they're doing the fall feed up, they're feeding on a lot of shad, but they're also feeding on crayfish depending on where they're at. So a lot of times then I'll have one in a shad pattern tied on and one in a crawl pattern tied on. It really just depends. Sometimes I'll have a square bill and a crawl pattern, and then the shad pattern will be the little medium diver that I'll have tied on. And I kind of bounce back and forth because, you know, I can still throw that medium diver up in the shallow water if I need to and bring it out. But a lot of times I'll have a crawl for the crankbait and stuff because you never know. But you basically are going to eliminate what colors you're throwing depending on if you know what those fish are biting on. So if you get out there and you're throwing a crawl pattern around and not hitting on it, you know you don't have to throw that anymore, and just switch to your different color shad patterns until you figure out one that they're biting on. So yeah, so, you know, spring and fall crankbaits really great, but you can fish them through the summer. You just have to know what times to put them on, you know. And like I said, you know, for me, when summertime's going, I usually throw on a crankbait. I use it as a search bait, and I will tie it on. A lot of times I'll tie them on in the morning and fish them early. And then if you get those windy days, you get that windy conditions with a little bit of chop on the surface and stuff, I'll throw crankbaits around then. I love to throw them around then, but I fish them year round because, you know, even in the summer those fish will get down deeper, and sometimes you need a crankbait to get down to them. And you have those days where, you know, you get that wind going, that little bit of chop on there, and a little breeze going, and that crankbait bite will turn on, and it'll be on, man, and you'll just be hammering them. So don't be afraid to throw them year round and try and experiment with different things, because you can catch fish year round on a crankbait. You got to experiment with your baits, and you got to be changing it up because, like I said, that bite changes all the time. So one day you could be catching them on a spinnerbait, and the next day you're catching them on a plastic worm. So you got to be willing to switch things up. And we all have our go-to baits, and the crankbait happens to be one of my go-to baits. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys those baits. They're really phenomenal baits. You can pick them up at Field and Stream, or you can go to the Googan Baits website or the Googan Squad website, and you can pick them up there. So you can check them out. I think they carry them at Shop Carl's as well. But super great baits. I definitely recommend them. I've been catching fish on them. I've actually been fishing the mini bangers, I don't know, for probably a good month or so now. I've had them, and just been hammering some fish on them. So I really like them. They got great action, super awesome bait, and I definitely recommend you trying them out and testing them out. And if you guys happen to run into me on the water, I'll be happy to let you chuck a few of mine around. I usually don't have a problem with that. If you ever go fishing with me, you can try out the baits that I'm trying and see if you like them. A lot of my friends and a lot of people that I know will do that. They'll fish with me, and then they'll like, oh yeah, I like that. That works. And they end up getting it. I tell them where to get it. But yeah, mini bangers, mini recons, definitely checking them out. Googan baits, super awesome. I mean, it's just a great line of baits that they come out with. Now they have bigger ones. They have ones that are in a 1.5 that are the same ones, and then they've also come out with lipless cranks, and they got all kinds of stuff coming out now. But right now, all I'm fishing is the mini recons and the mini bangers, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. So really like those baits. I'm gonna have a dedicated box that just has nothing but the mini bangers and the mini recons in them. So there you guys go. That's all I had to tell you guys today. A little bit of tackle stuff today. So just kind of, but definitely recommend trying them out. Mini recons, mini bangers. If you guys fish pressured water, they probably will help you catch more fish because it's something they haven't seen yet, and that's a big deal sometimes. So yeah, so definitely check them out. So there you guys go. That's all I got for you guys. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that ding dong button, all the things you got to do for YouTube. And oh yeah, do me a favor, tell me which one of the mini bangers and the mini recons you guys like. Tell me which one is your favorite one color wise, and which one you would probably prefer to throw. I'd love to hear your comments down below, so leave comments down below. So appreciate it, appreciate you guys, appreciate you watching. And the only other thing I got to tell you guys is just do yourself a favor, get out there, get your lines wet, and catch some fish.